You never count this kid out. What a throw, under pressure, under duress.
Tom Brady rifles a 20-yard touchdown pass. What a throw. One of the best in the game for Tom Brady. It's a touchdown, Patriots.
He has been very, very impressive with his calmness.
Leaping, he got it! Touchdown! Patriots! Brady's back! That's your quarterback! Unicorns! Show ponies! Where's the beef?
The greatest player in NFL history authored some of the greatest comebacks and game-winning drives of all time. I'm Mike Dussault, joined by Paul Perillo, and if you're a Patriots fan or just a football fan with an appreciation for great quarterback play, you're in for a treat today.
Yeah, and to get you ready for Tom Brady Hall of Fame night here at Gillette Stadium, we went back and looked at some of the greatest drives of his career, and who better to break those down and give us some analysis than Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, it's a fascinating trip down memory lane that provides new, detailed insight into not only what made Tom Brady great, but also the most clutch quarterback of all time. So sit back and enjoy seeing a new side of Tom Brady's greatness that you've never seen before.
All right, Josh, we're going to kick things off here with Super Bowl XXXIX. The Rams have just tied the game back up 17-all. I think John Madden thought maybe we're playing for overtime, but you guys had no such plans.
Yeah, I think this was obviously Tom's biggest moment as a pro to date, in his first year as a starter. And I think Bill making the decision with Charlie and Tom to go ahead and go for it was a huge, I think that gives a nod to Tom because they had confidence that he was able to do it at such a young age. You're right, Madden did talk about that specifically on air, and I thought this play was really important. In any 2-minute situation, you want to try to get the drive started. And as you can see, the Rams they got a good rush. They're playing zone defense, and he does a really good job of manipulating the pocket and then getting the ball to the back. If that play would have ended in a negative situation, I'm pretty sure that, we would have played for overtime. But this one was really important.
And it's amazing how close, too. The ball security, even at a young age, right there. He protects the ball. You lose the ball there, and we're having a whole different conversation about the decision to go for it.
No question. And I think this will be a theme as we watch, a lot of these different drives. One thing he doesn't get enough credit for, he's probably the greatest player in NFL history at this position for a number of reasons, and the one that doesn't get enough credit is how well he took care of the ball. He just didn't hurt his team, and there's a lot to be said for that. It's something that a lot of young quarterbacks should and could emulate. And then it goes to the second play, and again, you're always looking to try to get the first down in a 2-minute situation, and he's so aware of that, and this is a classic Tom Brady play where he reads the defense so quickly. He knows it's Tampa 2, and the back's hardly turned yet, and the ball's already on its way to him, and it allows the back to maximize the yards he can gain after the catch, and once you get that first down, you're kind of on your way.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of the pressure off. You get the clock moving now. Now this is going to be the last possession of regulation.
That's right.
The worst that's going to happen is we're going to go to overtime.
Yeah, you have a chance now to win it if you move it a couple first downs further. And what you're not doing is you're not going to have to punt it back to them. These first two plays are a really good example of how advanced he was at a young age. To be able to handle, this is the last drive of the Super Bowl. This isn't like the preseason now. This is, the most pressure you could possibly put on a young player, and to handle it with the calm and poise that he has here. It gave us a chance to win this game. I thought this was really an important play in the drive, and again, another example of how simply he took care of problems, and that was a theme for his whole career. He just, there really wasn't many problems he couldn't deal with, and the Rams try to, after you get a first down, the clock's moving, we're kind of moving it down there, trying to get into field goal range. They bring a overload pressure. He sees it right away, drifts away, knows he's out of the pocket, and just calmly throws the ball out of bounds. It's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but you take a sack here or you get a grounding penalty, it's over. You know, the drive is over, and it's just a lot of little things that he has to do, you know, quickly under pressure.
Yeah, these are huge. Like, you know, you always hear people say, like, well, the prevent, it only prevents you from winning. And this is not prevent defense.
No.
This is coming at you here.
Yep.
Like you said, they had the overload on that side. It works. They have a couple of untouched rushers here. But if that play is designed from a defensive standpoint to force a punt.
To end the drive.
We're gonna sack them here. The clock's gonna run.
Yep.
They're gonna have to kick it away.
Yep.
And Tom makes sure that it doesn't happen. And obviously the drive continues. But
It's
that's one of those plays that people don't talk about a lot.
No, it's one of those subtle reasons why he was so great. And again, this is, you know, this is him at a very young age. You know, it's not, you know, 7 seasons in or what have you. It's his first year as a starter. He's playing against a really good defense with a lot of veteran players, and you know, their coordinators trying to end the drive here as well. And I think, you know, obviously Tom does a great job of handling that situation. In order to convert on any 2-minute drive, you're gonna have to find a way to get a chunk completion somewhere. And so after he throws the ball away on the play prior, you know, he comes back, steps up in the pocket, you know, one of the very best ever at manipulating the pocket and moving within the pocket to find throwing lanes. And then he hits Troy coming out the back door here for what really was the most important completion of the drive as we got going, to be able to put us in position to try to attempt the field goal.
Josh, what made Tom so good at this kind of a play? Because this seems to be the defense that he ate for breakfast, you know, for his entire career. But what just made him so good on these kinds of reads?
I think he understood how much his eyes manipulated the defense. And you know, you can see the weak side linebacker here. He's reading, Tom's bringing him over with his head and eyes. You know, and he slides them this direction because he knows Troy's coming back here, and if he can move this defender into the middle of the field, and Troy, you know, gets to this spot back here, he's got an area to hit him, you know, coming out the backside. And he understood how to manipulate zone defense so well, and it was, you know, early, like I said, early in his career, and he only got better at it. But when you played zone, you had to be careful that he wasn't trying to create voids in your zone defense, you know, with his vision and his head and his eyes, and obviously he did it here.
Two's underrated thing about some of these clips that we're going to watch, you got J.R. Redmond making plays.
Yeah.
I'm watching Fred Boom Boom Coleman clear out the underneath on some of the forgotten players of the past.
David
We're going to see a lot more of them too coming up.
Wiggy, yep. And this is a really, you know, this is a good example here. So, you know, the pressure, this is, again, obviously we need a little bit of, you know, we need a few yards here to make sure that we're in good range for Adam. And the pressure that they had tried to use earlier to force a negative play and knock us, you know, out of the drive, you know, and Tom throws it away on that one. Well, this one, now he manipulates the protection to block it, which nobody talks about that, you know, in this type of a situation. But yeah, we're looking to try to throw a short completion and gain a few more yards, but here he is redirecting the protection. And now this same exact blitz that got home, you know, a few plays earlier, you know, this is within the drive. So it's not like we had a chance to have a team meeting and a film session. Bingo, he goes ahead and he handles it and you know, gives himself an opportunity to go ahead and find Wiggins there for the short completion.
How common was it where he see one thing once and he would know how to handle it the second time?
He was the fastest learner that I've ever coached in that regard. He just, you know, it didn't take many conversations for him to, he understood the why so quickly, and then he was able to apply it in practice, which made him so fun to coach. And then this is small, but so aware. Like I think there's 21 seconds before the ball snap. He knows before Wiggins is even down, like, okay, we're gonna clock this. You know, we have no timeouts yet, you know, and then ultimately Super Bowl #1.
Set to go, snap, ball down, kick up. Kick is on the way, and it is good! It's good! It's good! Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the game is over, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions! The Patriots us a Super Bowl champions.
Adam Vinatieri kicks the game-winning field goal. Where was the young coaching assistant Josh McDaniels at this point, winning his first Super Bowl?
I was up there taking the still photos in the press box, learning, trying to figure out, you know, whatever jobs they wanted me to do back then. I was more than happy to be here and be a small part of it.
We got some new faces here that he's throwing to.
Yep.
Big comeback. Everybody knows this one against the Saints.
Yeah, this was, you know, honestly, we didn't think we'd have the ball back, you know, and we were fortunate that the defense did a really good job of getting it back to us here. And this is as hard as it gets, you know, no timeouts, got to go. We're down 4, so a field goal doesn't do us any good, and you got to go 70 yards. So against a good defense that had given us some issues during the course of the day. And again, here he is again, starting it out under pressure, you know, under pressure, but there's that chunk play that you want to try to get at some point during the drive. He reads the coverage quickly, sees that it's a split safety defense, and drills, you know, a really good throw to Edelman to get it started. Just had such great situational awareness and ability to execute under pressure. And again, here's a really good player, you know, he wins inside on us, but Tom doesn't drop his eye level. He knows what he needs to do. He knows where he wants the ball to go, and again, makes a perfect throw.
And you can see the difference in mentality too. You go into this drive knowing you got to go 70 yards, like you said, and 3 won't do it. So it's not necessarily content to take the little drive starter that we've seen so many times. He gets 25 with Edelman here, and that's, I mean, that's got to be so hard to defend, because you know that this is what the Patriots do.
Yep.
They love to just get the sticks moving, and all of a sudden they're hitting you for a chunk.
Yeah, and you know, you're, as a quarterback, his mindset has to change, like you said, to not only do I need 1, I probably need 2. You know, I need a few chunks in this drive, because you got to think about this play as a 20-some yard gain, but the clock's also moving the whole time. And so we're going to lose, you know, 20 seconds minimum on this play, you know, and so, all right, we only have 40 left when we snap the next one. Well, we got to get going on the next one too. So he, you know, again, there's a minute to go here, and here he is quickly lined up, you know, gets the play communicated quickly. And then there he is again with another chunk play, you know, so he in the first 2 plays of this drive puts us in a position where now at least you know we're going to throw it to the end zone, which is what we all wanted to accomplish. And he does it to the first, you know, the first 2 opportunities that he gets us there. And this is probably as good of an example of him as a passer. Peeks to the right, you know, coverage slooping out here to Edelman, gets his head back here to Colley, you know, and here's Austin, who hasn't been with us the whole year now. You know, so here's Tom throwing to another guy that, you know, under pressure, just a different, you know, there's a different relationship between Austin Colley and Tom than there is with Julian or Gronkowski. And, you know, Tom's trusting him in a critical situation. Great footwork, great mechanics, great ball placement, and here he goes. And then here we go. I mean, 20 seconds to go, 4th and 4. So if we don't convert this, we don't even have a chance to win the game. And, you know,
4th down, he's got to go to Edelman or someone, right?
Yeah, you're thinking, I got to go to well, Edelman's not even on the field.
Not even in the game.
So it's Aaron, Mike, Ho-Ho Manawanui, BB, Bolden, Austin Colley, and Kembrell Tompkins. You know, you got 2 rookies, you know, and a guy who literally hadn't been there that long.
Right.
So, you know, again, it speaks to Tom's ability to adapt and play with really anybody and do it under pressure and do it well. Again, here it is. He's not looking right, left, right. He knows what he wants to do because he's diagnosed the coverage. His head's still, his feet are where they want to be, and he throws a great pass to Colley and trusts him enough to make the right play.
Deuce, what year did you say this game is?
2013.
You think the fans would know that there's probably stuff that's still happening in this game? Look at all the empty seats.
I know.
Are you kidding me?
I'm telling you, like, there was a lot of people that didn't think we were going to get the ball back here, and we were fortunate that we had another opportunity.
It's the same thing in the 09 opener. Well, what are people walking out for? Don't you know who's playing quarterback?
That's right. And so then it comes down to no timeouts, 10 seconds. You know, so, you know, you got a lot of things you could talk about doing. Do you want to try to get it a little closer to where you have maybe an easier throw, or you want to throw it a few times into the end zone? So, you know, we chose to give ourselves a few chances to toss it into the end zone. And again, right away, he's trying to figure out where the single is. You know, is there anybody that's got single coverage? Certainly not these guys in the slot. They're getting double teamed, but as you can see, the ball's already coming out of his hand because he's already diagnosed that Cambrell has a single on the left, and he puts the ball, again, another great example of ball placement, accuracy, and fundamentals under pressure that, you know, just probably doesn't get discussed enough. You know, this, yeah, he reads it right, but now he's got to do all this other stuff and gives KT a chance to win the game.
He's leaping, he has it! Touchdown! Patriots! Brady's back! That's your quarterback! Unicorns! Show ponies! Where's the beef?
So Josh, on this play, like, the coverage is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, Jabari Greer is in position to make a play.
Yep.
And I know the throw is perfect, but do you just have to, you know, the situation is 10 seconds. I can't afford to look for a better look. I got to take a shot because this is a play that you guys probably on the flip side would be disappointed you didn't make defensively.
Yeah, that's right. This is there's no mastery in terms of scheme here. This is a player's play right here. And you know, we got 4 guys running straight ahead routes, getting into the end zone. And basically, when we talk about this kind of a play, it's Tom's going to give somebody a chance and go make a play. You know, that's what you got to do. And again, Cambrell can't really do this if Tom doesn't give him a chance.
Right.
So if Tom throws it out of the end zone or underthrows it, or it doesn't really matter. But you know, KT can go do this because of what Tom allows him to do, and there it is. Works right.
Incredible.
In situations like that, yeah.
Where's the beef, Deuce?
Yeah, that's right. So, great spiral, great ball placement. I mean, it's
like, what is the coaching
everything
point on that one? Where you want him to throw that ball?
We do that drill in training camp a lot, where you know, you put a trash can in the back corner of the end zone, and you know, and see if you can't drop it in the bucket, literally. And this is a great example. Like I said, if it's 5 yards too far, it's, you know, we can't really touch the football. So really what we tell them is give our guy a chance to touch it, you know, and because we can't obviously pull it in if we don't have our hands on it. And this is an incredible example of probably the most perfect example we have of this type of play.
Well, we're on to the next season. You got a new toy to play with on offense in Brandon Cooks here, and we're against the Texans, another game-winning drive.
Early in the season, you know, we're still trying to figure out how we all fit into this equation with Cookie, and you know, so this is a good defense, really good defense, good team. You know, down by 5, 2 minutes. Again, don't have, you know, the deck is not in our favor here, but 3rd and 13, you know, and so. If we don't overcome this is, you know, we're going to have to go for it really, really early in the drive. So, again, Tom sees it, diagnoses that the double team is, you know, for whatever the reasons are. I'm not in those conversations on defense, but they're doubling Danny and leave Gronk one-on-one with the linebacker.
Zach Cunningham by himself. Like, there's so many times that you see these linebackers one-on-one.
Yeah, and you can see it from the end zone, you know, how quickly he sees that, you know, it's man-to-man, and, okay, now I know 29's not with Gronkowski because of where he's at, so now he's just going to sit and play one-on-one with Rob. You know, really good fundamentals again in the pocket, great feet, and then great ball placement.
Nice
Gets us out of an early hole in the drive. If we hadn't, you know, done that quickly, you know, this would have been, you know, trouble. But again, credit to Tom. And then minute 45, clock running. And again, we've talked about how important these, you know, all the defenses want to try to do is stop you from making chunk plays. And over again, you've seen him make these plays under pressure. And so here he goes again, kind of holding the defense here, and he knows where he wants to go, snaps it off to Cooks for another 15 to 18 yards, and then, you know, Brandon does a good job of getting it out of bounds. But Tom's awareness of the situation, you want to try to make the chunks quick so you can have some time in the red zone. is what you want to try to do when you're in these situations. And here he is holding the defense here so he can snap back and makes a great play to Cookie.
Brady drops back to pass, fires to the far side, wide open. Cooks makes the catch, curls out of bounds. Pats have a first down at the Texan 44.
A little bit of rhythm here.
And, you know, obviously not an ideal scenario. 3rd and 18. I think we had some kind of a sack or something in the drive. And so here's 3rd and 18, and we're trying to, you know, overcome obviously a bad situation here. And so, you know, we need a chunk here big time, and he knows he's got good rushers. There's Watt coming off the edge, and he's got to manipulate the pocket enough for our guys. We're not running any short routes here, as you can see, and he knows he's got to, you know, stay alive long enough to be able to give one of these guys a chance, and he's getting hit by Watt as he lets the ball go. And again, another example of him doing the tough things under pressure. You know, if you bail out on this because you feel the heat, like, we're not going to have this, you know, completed. But he stands in there, takes a hit, and makes a great play.
Nice catch by Danny.
Yep. Again, execution under pressure has been a big theme here.
I mean, we started it off in Super Bowl XXXIX, and you just see how it continued to grow.
You get into this situation where you're in this kind of, let's call it the fringe area, you know, and the clock's running, and a lot of defenses won't give you a chance at throwing one in the end zone here. But, you know, if you feel like you got any opportunity to do so, you know, then maybe you can take a chance at it. And he sees the coverage where the safety kind of, you know, backs into the end zone, and he pumps to try to hold him a little bit. And then, you know, again, under duress, makes an incredible throw where only our guy can get it, you know. And now, instead of having to execute another 5 plays, you know, to get it down there and get it in, we score from the fringe, which is always easier if you can score on one play as opposed to execute 4 or 5 more.
I mean, is it crazy for him to try that throw on a split safety look? I mean, is that advisable from an offensive coordinator standpoint?
I think you say, look, if you do this, it's got to be our ball or nobody's, which it is, you know. And if he would have missed this, if the safety would have played it better, he probably would have thrown it out of bounds, and we would have said, all right, let's huddle, you know, on the next play. But you know, here's Clowney. Look, this is as hard as it gets now,
He hits his arm.
This is Clowney, like, hitting the throwing arm literally before the ball's thrown. I mean, like, this isn't easy. And then you're talking about perfect accuracy, you know. So again, just one of the many, you know, miraculous things that he's done in his career. But this is an incredible play to a new player.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't like
another guy first year.
This isn't like we had played, you know, 5 years with Cookie. So it's, again, another example of Tom being Tom.
We're on to the Super Bowl, the Legion of Boom.
Here we are against, you know, one of the best defenses we've ever played against. And, you know, in order to beat them, we were going to have to do a lot of things well. Tom certainly played incredibly well in this game.
Oh my God! We did it, Josh! We did it! That's awesome, man! I love it!
It wasn't relief. It was a, you know, there was jubilation because, you know, this thing we had tried to reach for so many years. You know, we finally got to the top of the mountain, and it was a really cool feeling to finally feel it.
It was a little hairy. It wasn't easy, that's for sure.
No,
man.
it was not. No, it wasn't. And again, this is a great example too. I mean, what more would you want, you know, in the Super Bowl? We're down 3, 6 minutes to go against this defense. You know, got to go, you know, the length of the field to try to beat them. And this took a lot of really good football. And this is a great example too of, you know, Tom's awareness. He's so aware of the defensive personnel by the time we play the game. And it's not just scheme, but it's also players. And so Seattle lined up with a single safety almost the entire game. But he knows who this is. And, you know, he's given them the respect that he's earned. It's Richard Sherman. And so he's not going to tell Richard that I might go over here. So he's looking this way. And then he's going to, now he pops back over there just to see if Richard got lazy. And maybe Richard opened his hips up and and said, well, he's not coming over here. And then Tom says, all right, Richard's playing me honest, so I'm not going to do that. Plus, Wright gets underneath it. And now what he knows is, if I got 2 on Gronk, I got 1 for everybody else. And so now he knows I can kind of come right here to Julian or Shane and give him the ball, because there's just not enough help in the middle of the defense. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, ball. I mean, you had about 2.5 maybe, and you had to get rid of it. You know, they had a really good rush. They had a lot of great players. And he answered the call all day against them. It's a great 2nd and 11 after, you know, we had a penalty, and here it is. It's, you know, it's Chancellor on Gronkowski, and what this is a great example of. Tom knows that when they rush 5, that he has one-on-one across the board. And so you can already see he's not really worried. He's not really worried about anybody else at this point, because they rush 5 and everybody's playing man-to-man coverage. He's going to go to his best player on the best route that would beat the coverage. And again, the ball just got into his hands, and he's already on Gronk. He's not moving. He's not looking over here to the right. He's not looking over here to the left. He knows he's going to go to Gronkowski, which allows him to beat the rush, which is such an unheralded part of winning games against these great defenses, is you have to beat the rush with the ball without throwing 3-step drop passes on every play. You can't just throw it 2 yards down the field and think you're going to win. So here he is hitting Gronkowski on the over before he gets hit in the middle of the pocket. But the only reason he could do that is because he diagnosed it so quickly and was ready to go. And that was on a night where Michael Bennett, Bruce Irvin, I mean, they're in the backfield every play. Irvin comes right up the middle on this, a little delayed blitz, and it didn't matter. He just stood in there and took it. Knew the hit was coming, didn't matter. That's right. You know, his eyes don't drop. And like I said, that's not easy to do. I mean, you guys can imagine, you know, if you've been in a car wreck and you think you're going to get in another one, you might hit the brake a few times and, you know, start looking at the other cars on the road. And, you know, this team was, I think Ernie said that we had a hard time blocking Bennett all night, which just because Bennett was a great player. In this situation, Wendy does a great job, but they were a really good rush team. And that's what made it, that's why they were there, you know, and so here he is, never takes his eyes from the passing game down to the rush. But again, you can see how quickly he knows he's going to Gronkowski. Great ball placement, gives us a chance to make a big play. Another 2nd and 10, and this is just another great example of under pressure. You know, Gronk's outside and they put KJ on him, so that tells us what the coverage is, and Tom knows it right away. So there wasn't a whole lot of, let me see what else is going on here. He knew where he was going to go with the ball, and that's why it's out of his hands so quickly, which again allows Tom to help the protection. You know, the protection stays inside out, and here they are trying to run a stun over here, but Bennett can't get there because Tom's too quick. So earlier in the game, there was a similar look, I think, that you beat him for the touchdown. And Gronk gets behind right. And so KJ's giving him a lot more. Were you surprised that they kind of came back to those kinds of looks one-on-one with the line? I know KJ Wright's an excellent player. You know, they were that kind of defense that they, you know, you weren't going to make them do something that they didn't want to do. We do what we do. That's right. And to get to their credit, they were good enough. They were good at it. They were good enough to beat, you know, most every team and to hold them to X amount of yards and all. This is a historically good defense, and you know, and so you really weren't going to get them out of that. You know, that's just the way they played, and so they played their stuff, and that's how they believed in playing football, and it was obviously very productive for them. But you can see, you know, we have an unblocked guy, but he can't get there because if Tom's eyes were lazy or he was looking at the wrong thing, then we probably would have a problem here. But he allowed us to play so well against some of these really great pass rush teams because he diagnosed it quickly and he was ready to go and get the ball out of his hands. And he was definitely part of our pass protection plan, even though he wasn't a blocker.
How much would he decipher before snap versus post snap?
If you gave him information like this, where it was right on Gronkowski, clearly he would see that, you know, before the ball was snapped, and he knew. If it was something, you know, where they would hold their disguise until the ball was snapped, and then he would do it afterward. But, you know, you try, as a quarterback, you try to gain as much information as you can before you snap the ball. And then as soon as the ball snapped, what we talk about is confirming what you saw and making sure that it was right. We had tried this play earlier and had a chance at it, and we just missed it. And then Tom, we remember the conversation vividly on the sideline where he says, "Hey, come back to that." You know, like, we missed it, but it was a good design, and Julian made a good route. And if we get down here again, maybe we'll give it another shot. And so here we go, you know, and 2nd and goal at the 3, you know, and we do it again. And here's Seattle, you know, coming out of their comfort zone a little bit, you know, and they pressure us, and we block it up, and so they blitz 7 on this play, and so he knows right away I got one-on-one, and I'm going to go to my matchup. And you know, they had an injury earlier in the game. Tom was obviously very well aware of that, and then makes a play that we didn't quite execute perfectly the first time. He does it perfectly under pressure here.
Throws for Edelman. Touchdown, Patriots! They're back in the lead in Super Bowl 49.
Spike it off the route.
After a free, they didn't call a foul on him, which I saw that, and I'm like, please God, don't call a penalty on him here. Yeah.
Yeah, TV wanted a little push off there.
Yeah. Oh boy.
That takes a little restraint. I give the guy credit.
Danny gave him it's okay, it's okay. This is an even more epic game. It seems like we're hopping right into overtime, but we know what Super Bowl 51 was like, 28-3, all that. You guys come roaring back, and then was there any doubt? I mean, this overtime drive is just, in my view, it's a work of art.
Formality.
Part of this game, I think the frustrating part for some of us that were in this game offensively was we just didn't really, you know, we didn't play our best early in the game, and plenty of that was Atlanta, you know, played well and were very, very well coached. And I knew we went in at halftime, and it was more like kind of, we got to start playing the best we can play here. And if we do, I don't know what the score is going to end up, but I think we have a better chance to be successful. And so by the time we got rolling and then we get to this situation, it was kind of like, all right, we had kind of, you know, figured it out, and I think we had a ton of confidence we were going to go out there and move it right down the field and do what we needed to do. So this is another great example of, you know, they're trying to hold the coverage, disguise, show us one thing. You know, we're obviously in an empty formation. As soon as this safety runs out of here, you know, his head and eyes come back over here to the best throw we have on the field, which is an outbreaker. It's the same route that Branch, you know, completed against Carolina in 2003, and this is what, 15 or 14 years later. And so there's Danny on it. Again, he gets his head and eyes over here so quick so he can throw it, you know, before the rush gets here. Amendola, very much like Branch, not out of his cut yet, but the ball's already thrown, and it couldn't have been thrown any better. So just a great player doing everything right under pressure in the most important drive of the year.
Yeah, and the coverage is better on this play by Poole, and this is one that if it's even a yard to the inside, gets at least broken up.
Yep. Just
effortless throw.
Yeah, and again, just so many little things going into this, like confirm the coverage. All right, I got it. Now I'm getting to my option that I want to throw to. There's my feet perfectly underneath me. The ball's in the perfect position to throw the ball the way I want to. There's the high release, you know, left arm's tucked. He's already snapped his hip. I mean, again, just a great player, the best player, you know, of all time, making a great play under pressure.
The Bubba Ventrone all jacked up on the sideline?
Yep. And then, you know, come back the very next play. And again, you know, there's no time crunch on us here, so we're just really trying to go to the best matchups we can, or identify the, you know, the situation that was best for us. And, you know, Danny's kind of getting squeezed here. They had their best corner, Alford, on Julian, and so here's Tom again, not worrying about, I have to go to this guy, I have to go to that guy. he's going to do the right thing under pressure based on the circumstances. And, you know, we go after the lesser corner with Chris, and here he is completing a critical throw to Hogues under pressure. Great ball placement again. Chris isn't open by a lot, but the ball's obviously perfectly thrown.
Yeah, those two throws back to back, just incredible throws. And
Yeah.
like you said, given the situation of the game, it feels like you guys have been on the field forever here. You know, in the whole fourth quarter,
Yep.
it didn't matter. Just another sequence of plays that had to be perfect.
Yep.
And they almost all were.
Yep. Just really, again, good execution by our football team, but none of this is going to happen unless Tom's doing the thing at the end of the play that we really need to have happen. And this is, again, now we're down here in the scoring zone. And again, at this point, the mentality has shifted, you know, because now we want to end the game, you know, and we want to score a touchdown. And, you know, because we kick a field goal, then they get the ball, and, you know, we're really trying to, you know, see if we can't finish the game off with a touchdown. So, you know, you motion James out here, the safety ends up going with White, and now they got the linebacker on Martellus. And so before James has even finished the shift, you know, we're already signaling, because there's, in Tom's eyes, blood in the water here, you know? And so, and that's the reality, is this isn't like we're gonna try to score a touchdown. We're gonna try to win the world championship on this play. And it literally, as you can see, it takes him all of how many, you know, like a second, you know, of seeing that Martellus is on a linebacker to say, I'm going for the jugular. And, you know, great example of this. And so he knows what he's doing, and this is the game within the game. He knew where he was going, but where did he look? He looks left to try to hold him from running over here to try to help the linebacker, which, again, it just goes to the layers of things that he could really handle. It's why he was the best. Holds his head over there as long as he can. See the safety false steps. Can't really get a good break on it, and then gives Marty a chance, and obviously we get the penalty on pass interference and puts it inside the 2-yard line. But a lot of little things here, really cool. And it's funny because James knows. he knows, like, this isn't coming to me. He knew when that signal came out, he knew what Tom was thinking, and James is obviously a very smart player too. And there's Tom trying to give the hometown guy a chance to win the Super Bowl on this play. And
well, it's a great example because it's a pass that wasn't completed. It was a penalty, but again, it illustrates
his greatness.
Yep.
Yep. All the things that he did so well. Just subtle, you know, subtle.
Does Marty know what's coming to him at that point?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was the right thing, as you can see. Like, he got him at the snap of the ball, and again, Tom's holding the safety long enough to give this guy a chance, and you know, it was the right thing to do. And then this is a, you know, I think this is a great example of, you know, he never cared. The statistical line wasn't that important to him. Like I said, at the end of the day, he wanted to be 1-0 on you know, at the end of the game on this day. And so he's not worried about, well, can we throw a pass here? You know, he's just executing the play the best he can. And this happens to be a run play, a toss play. But, you know, the most important thing for him is that we win the game. And, you know, he always had a lot to do with our success, run or pass.
Second and goal to go from the 2. Toss sweep right for James White. Tucks it under the right arm. Cuts it upfield. Driving forward. Diving to the goal line. A touchdown. And a title for the Patriots.
I can't believe it.
They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Led by the greatest quarterback.
Look at Brady.
In Super Bowl and NFL annals.
One more ring.
James White. And a silver trophy is coming back to New England.
Great finish.
Yeah, James White had an okay day that day too.
Yep, great day.
Well, we made it to the last one, Josh. All due respect to Super Bowl 53, but we're going with the 2018 AFC Championship in overtime. I mean, we know what the Chiefs were on the verge of becoming, but what a game. Everybody that's been there told me it was just absolutely a crazy environment and a really cool place to play football.
This was, you know, we talked about the Seattle game being a special game, you know, because after going through so many years of, you know, of trying to get back to the top and all that, and finally doing it. And then this game was in some ways similar, because I think we had all kind of felt like everybody kind of, you know, wrote it. We were written off a little bit, not by everybody.
I have to be a little guilty as charged on that one.
There you go.
I didn't feel it coming into this playoff.
And it was kind of one of those things where we had gone through a lot of changes, and in terms of our identity and who we were and what we could do well, but I think we went into this game with a lot of confidence in our toughness, both mentally and physically, and we knew we were going to have to play this kind of a game. And here it is, like, you know, now we got the ball in overtime, and you know, it's going to take a lot more mental toughness and really good football plays to finish this. And so we didn't want them to have the ball, that's for sure. And I think that was our mindset. And you know, coming out right off the bat, you know, and just, you know, we're gonna start throwing, you know, and see if we can't get it down the field and put it in. And here he is, you know, taking the profit to Hogan, and you know, again, getting hit in the pocket a little bit, but you know, doing the right thing here to start overtime.
Josh, from a play caller standpoint, when you are in these kinds of games, you get into overtime in games that the fourth quarter was almost exclusively 2-minute.
Yep.
Is it difficult to sort of adjust or know when to, well, this is working, let's stay with it? Is that a hard balance to sort of strike?
Sometimes it can be, and I think the easy thing sometimes to do is just to stay in it. You know, when we went to overtime against Atlanta, we just kept doing what we were doing the last 2 quarters, you know, which was just really stay in a passing mode and spread the field out and just keep going. And, you know, I think sometimes you can overthink it and like, well, okay, well, it's tied. I can go back to my other game. You know, sometimes it's the easiest thing for you to do is say, hey, the rest of this game plan wasn't worth much. I'm going to stick with this. You know what I mean?
I remember Tony Romo in this particular drive kept saying, you know, a guy like Tom, you got to give him 2 out of 3.
Yep.
You got to let him throw at least 2 out of the 3 plays to make sure you keep the sticks moving.
The difference between this game and some of those other ones was we really weren't an exclusively 11 personnel team this year. We were a lot of 2-backs, and so here you see we're staying in it because you know, we kind of knew what we would get from them defensively if we were in 2-backs, which gave us a little bit of a heads up. And so again, here's Tom right off the bat, knows where he's going quickly, and so this was really staying with what we had been doing literally in this game, a little differently than some of those other ones. And then everybody remembers these 3 incredible, you know, 3rd and 10. You know, when you look at the 3rd and 10 cut up at the end of the year, you know, a lot of times your 3rd and 10 plus cut up at the end of the year. A lot of times at the end of the year, you're going to look at single digits in terms of total conversions. And to go 3 in a row in the same game, in the same drive, is almost impossible to consider. Again, you know, they kind of made a little bit of a mistake there. But again, it doesn't matter if they make a mistake if we don't see it. And he sees it right away. His feet, you can see his feet are like, his feet are kind of bouncing like, Jules, just tell me where you're going because I'm throwing it. You know what I mean? He just wants to make sure the angle Julian's going on. And Julian kind of says, all right, hey, I'm going to put my hand up because I'm not coming across the field. I'm just give it to me. Okay. You know, which is really 2 really good players that are on the same page, obviously in a critical situation. But you can tell Tom's excited, like he goes, oh man, where's that other cover guy? You know, I just want to give you the ball, and does the right thing.
23 took a false step. Yeah. This is the one that I'm fascinated by, because it looked like Kansas City knew this was coming and had it and were prepared for it.
Yeah.
And they still beat it.
And this is one of those ones where it's like, you know, sometimes as the play caller, the best thing you can do is call the same thing. you know what I mean, and let your guys go do it again. And just the same play, it just flipped. And so, you know, I thought this is an unsung part of this play, but watch Dorsett. See Phillip try to kind of lean in here and bump 35. Yep. Philly does the dirty work here to allow Julian just to get a step on him, because they played it, you're right, Paul, they played it differently. They locked it.
Well, and Sorensen's, but he's just a day late and a dollar short.
Yep, he can't get down there quick enough, you know, and Phil did a great job, and again, Tom knows right away, I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going. As soon as he saw this, he was going to Julian, and again, another one where there's no margin of error on the accuracy. You know, has to be great under pressure, and his eyes and feet are perfect, you know, and
back foot, bang.
There it is. And like I said, this guy's left arm is in there.
He's there.
It's just the accuracy is better. It's a great, and he knows it. You can see him.
Yeah, Sorensen, I think if he had put his foot in the ground and come up, at least he creates a collision.
Yep. And then here it is again, 3rd and 10. I mean, as the offensive coordinator, I'm not proud of the fact that we couldn't gain any yards in the first 2 downs over and over again, but I'm really proud of the guys for converting as many as they did here. But you know, Gronk on the previous possession to to take the lead in the 4th quarter, he beat Barry on the outside on the go route, and so we kind of had 2 plays where Gronk was out there, and so Barry tries to overplay the outside because we'd beat, and so we ran the slant, you know, on this drive, and so we had an opportunity, but this is really Tom needing to see what Sorensen's doing, because there's not much margin for error here. And if Tom would have held this ball any longer, this would have been a bad play. But he saw Sorensen come over here to try to, you know, kind of double Edelman.
Yep.
And so he knows I only have a small window here, and I got to get rid of it. And here he goes. If you watch him, 1, 2, and as soon as he hits that right foot, ball's gone. Great quarterback play under pressure.
And you can see the impact that Edelman had on that play.
No doubt.
That's where all the attention is.
Yep. He's coming over because he's given up 2 in a row, and they're going to try to stop him from doing it again. Excellent quarterback play, under pressure, reading the coverage, understanding the difference. And this is a different coverage than what we hit Edelman on, you know, because they play with the robber now to try to take Julian away, and so Tom goes back to Gronkowski. So great accuracy on all 3 balls, but really good quarterback play under pressure to try to win it. And then again, just like in the Atlanta game, it's not let me throw it, you know, that's not really part of his concern. He wants to win, and whatever that meant he had to do, he was excited to do it, and you can tell, like, you know, this is one of those feelings where you went on the road against a team nobody thought you could really beat, you know, and this season we kind of grew into a team that could win these kind of games, and he was awful proud of being the leader of this group.
Like the David Andrews wave and bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was crazy, Josh. This was amazing. I think just like the biggest thing I take away from what you were saying was just how aware he was of every situation. Yeah. He knew it quick. He immediately after snap knew where he was going with the ball. There was no wasted motion. He was just so focused and could decipher things so quickly.
Yeah, and I think I want to make sure I give him the proper credit he deserves for that. That just doesn't happen when you get up in the morning on Monday morning like you got it for the next Sunday. It took hours of preparation daily to get to that point where he could play like that. And like I give you the only example you would need is we would win a road game on a Sunday, and on the plane ride home, he would have already seen 3 or 4 games of film on next week's opponent. And that was the kind of dedication and discipline and commitment he had to being the best player he could be. And you couldn't do those things that we talked about had you not put in that endless amount of preparation and work that only a few select great players have ever been able to do, and he was the best example of it. These are great memories, and memories that we're all proud of. I mean, honestly, when every once in a while you'll catch one of them on NFL Network or or something. And it's just, these are those games that, you know, as a coach, hopefully you remember these more than you do the losses. Sometimes the losses sting, you know, quite a bit, but you know, these are the ones you do it for. And I know that's why the guys play. I know that's why we coach. And these teams, you know, to be able to celebrate these kind of moments and these kind of achievements together, I think that's why we all got into the sport. It's why we love it so much.
By the greatest quarterback
Look at Brady
in Super Bowl and NFL annals.